Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Virgo for December 2017. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, check out my blog and my other stuff there, and also my new website, cozybysweetstarlight.com. At cozybysweetstarlight.com, you can see written monthly horoscopes, which I've never done before, along with great reads that will go along with each sign for each month, depending on what planets are doing for each of you, as well as a whole lot of other really cool, fun things, so check it out. So what's going on in the month of December in general and for Virgo? I'm calling the theme of the month for everyone the big wrap-up, which we will talk about those general transits at length, and there are lots of happy surprises in store with the aspects that are coming for December. So we'll talk about that soon, but first I want to talk about some things specific to Virgo. I'm calling the theme of the month for Virgos creativity manifestation. Okay, so this is because personal planets are going to start moving into the fifth house at some point here. Not just yet. For early degree signs, you'll feel this sooner. This might be more into January that this happens for the short-term planets. But Saturn, for you early degree placements, is making its move into the fifth house. Saturn is changing signs this month, and that's what I want to focus the reading on, because when Saturn changes signs, it's a momentous event because it takes years for that to happen. It's been in Sagittarius for 3 years, and now it's moving to Capricorn, which is its own ruler. Saturn rules Capricorn. So it's going to be more happy there, I think, than it has been in Sagittarius. But for you early degree placements, like 0 to 9 degrees for your rising sign, or first 10 degrees of the birth days, you'll be having Saturn move into the fifth. The rest of you middle to late degree placements, you're still going to be having Saturn in your fourth house for anywhere from a little to a long amount of time. The late degree people, you might not see Saturn move into the fifth house until even a year from now, depending on what exactly your placement is. So it's important to understand that even though Saturn is making this big change, it's not making as big of a change as far as a house perspective for all of you. It's changing the sign for everyone, but this house thing is staggered because it takes Saturn 28 to 30 years to move around. So the chart of where Saturn is for an early degree placement is very different than where it is for a late degree placement. So you can pay attention to what I'm about to talk about, but then I'll also give a review of what Saturn is doing for a while for you still. So Saturn moving into the fifth house, which is current for early degree placements and coming soon for middle degree placements and coming later for late degree placements, has to do with testing stability and long-term energy for children and creativity and love, true love. The fifth house is not one of the partnership houses, but it is the house of true love. So many times people will have a love relationship tested while Saturn is in the fifth house. Saturn often comes with someone needing something from you or you needing something from someone. So relying heavily upon one another. And this has to do with children. So your children might need you more during the fifth house transit. You might find out that you're showing up more for them or that they're more involved with you, that there's some energy of stability or some energy of testing. There could be challenges, there could be rifts, there could be that they need more attention, so you have to pour more time into them. These are children, but they're also creative projects. So if you don't have any children, then this can be your creative endeavors, your creativity. Sometimes people get negatively affected with their creativity when Saturn's in the fifth house. So it's almost like you have to make creativity a job, like a daily, I'm going to force myself to open up space for creativity now, because Saturn is going to put pressure on it for an extended period of time. But the upside of that is that it can be very productive if you use the energy the right way. If you just allow yourself to be blocked and don't do anything and just are frustrated and don't work at it, that's defying what Saturn wants you to do. Saturn always wants you to work harder in some area of life. And the area of life that it's moving through for the early degree placements is this fifth house of creative projects. So this can be an amazing time for establishing a creative project as business or as work, because Saturn in the sign of Capricorn is all about work and being out in the world. So it might be time to get structured with your creative efforts. It might be time to get structured or to really ask serious questions about things involving your children or your romantic relationship. And it might be important for you to ask questions like, where are these patterns coming from? You know, there's a lot that's involved, and it's a long-term transit, so it's nothing that's going to go away or come in or go away overnight. It wants work, but the work always results in gifts. Whenever we have a Saturn transit leaving somewhere else, we get gifts. So Saturn, for your early degree placements, is leaving the 4th house. So you're going to be getting gifts from the 4th house transit, and that has to do with a gift about home or family. I know when I had Saturn leave the 4th house, I had a very nice check from a real estate investment that I made, and also some other things with home-related things. So you might find that as the hazing is done in one house, you get the gift. And that's the thing that we love about Saturn, is that when it's done in one place, you get the gifts from the hard work that you put in from that house. And then you have to do the hard work for the next house. Sometimes it's easier to do hard work if you know that you're going to get gifts from it, right? We're motivated by outcomes sometimes. So early degree placements, look for gifts in home and family arena. Middle to late degree placements, you still have work to do in the home arena. So you'll be having your weak links in your home, family, your childhood psychology, your actual houses, real estate ventures. Those will be tested. And many people will also have fulfillment and accomplishment come. Saturn can bring heaviness and difficulties just as easily as it can bring accomplishment and, you know, things coming to fruition that you've worked hard for. So middle degree placements, you still have a little while before you will get your gifts from the 4th house. Later degree placements, you have a long time before you'll get the gifts from the 4th house, from the point of Saturn leaving. But you can get many gifts from the 4th house while Saturn is there by doing the actual work. So those are the things that are most on my mind for Virgo. Now I want to talk about these surprises that can come from these happy transits with Uranus. When Uranus is in a transit that is positive, it usually brings surprises that are happy because Uranus brings surprises. So the favorable angle can usually make those happy. There are some challenging angles as well and some things happening at the same time, but for the most part, with all the Sag energy this month, it's a light, flowy, hopefully flexible, not best time for doing a lot of planning unless it's flexible planning and easygoing. But it's an amazing time for magical synchronicities to come out of nowhere. So we'll talk in more detail about all of that, dates to love, dates to watch. So the theme of December 2017 for all signs, I'm calling the big wrap up. Usually at the end of the year, we have some semblance of wrapping up the energy of the year, but that's not always astrologically synced. However, this year it is. So at the end of this year, not only are we ending out the month, the year, in a Mercury retrograde, which carries its own energy of wrapping things up, we're also ending the year with Saturn leaving Sagittarius. And it's been in Sagittarius since the end of 2014. So we've got this double energy of this, well, triple really, from Mercury, Saturn, and the end of the year, this big wrap up. So the Mercury retrograde energies will be strong all month long. If you can do your shopping early, that's why I post these early. So if you're watching this in November, then I recommend you try to get your shopping done by November 15th. If you can, try to slip in some more by the new moon of, around the 21st of November, if you can, because that will minimize breaking of things coming that weren't ordered, people not liking their things. When we buy gifts in Mercury retrograde, they have a shorter shelf life than we usually intend them to. And when we buy a gift for someone, we usually want them to like it and have it for a long time and for it to make it in one piece. So the fact that Mercury is retrograde in Sagittarius increases the likelihood, and really other planets are in Sagittarius too, so the Sag theme is present for most of the month. And that increases the likelihood of focus on writing, publishing, editing, speaking, things having to do with learning, teaching, religion, spirituality, occurrences with the church, your church, different countries, different cultures, different languages, international business, anything having to do with, a wide breadth of things. So this is a fantastic time if you're a writer or if you have any artistic projects to wrap them up. The more you can tie together loose ends this month, the more you'll be ready to push things forward when we have the last open window before the wall of retrogrades in 2018. So starting January 12th, although there are a couple of days before then that are pretty good for many things. But from January 12th through February into the very beginning of March, we have our last open window that is not completely covered by personal planets being retrograde in 2018. So if you've got something that you want to get out into the world, of course, follow your intuition. If it's not the right time, it's not the right time. But the more things you can push out in that period of time, then you can use the retrogrades to go back over things. Now, if you're not certain about the thing you're launching, maybe it's better to let the retrogrades change and mold them before you actually launch after that long stretch of retrogrades. So the energy of Sagittarius is very lighthearted. It's fun, it's optimistic, it's adventurous. So I'm sure that many people are going to be having lots of adventures from this predominance in Sagittarius energy this month. The tone of the month changes towards the end as the planets start to get into Capricorn. Capricorn is more stern. It's, ruled by Saturn, who is the taskmaster. It's a great time to get your taxes done. That's something great to align your energies with every year by doing your taxes early, because that Capricorn energy is amazing for business focus, tedious things like looking up numbers, organizing things. So any other projects that you need focus, to be productive, to have efficiency, to have goal setting, Sag is not great for that, but Capricorn is great for that. So you'll have a mix this month. So Sag will probably bring lots of fun, could bring lots of projects, people, things from the past with the Mercury retrograde, and then the Capricorn energies will start to come in and make things more serious and more down to business. Now, this theme of getting down to business is going to be continued for a long stretch of time, because when Saturn moves from Sagittarius, where it's been for years, into Capricorn, it's going to stay there for years. So, but Saturn rules Capricorn. So I believe that Saturn's going to be much happier and the energies will be much more coherent moving through Capricorn than they were moving through Sagittarius, because Sagittarius and Capricorn energies, which Saturn rules, so Saturn moving through Sagittarius is like the mixing of Capricorn and Sag energies, and they don't mix very well. So when Saturn gets into its own sign, whenever a planet is in its own sign, it's always happier there. So hopefully that will be a relief for everybody. So we've got so many wonderful transits this month, and lots of them have to do with the planet Uranus. So that means that there are going to be surprises, lots of surprises this month, which is another reason to try not to plan too much, because a lot of things are going to come out of the blue. Most of those things, from the perspective of the transits, unless something different is happening in your personal chart, most of those things will be happy surprises, because the transits that Uranus is involved in are good angles, or positive, easy, smooth angles. So just kind of, my advice is to wrap up old things in a leisurely way for most of the month. You can get a little bit more serious towards the end of the month. You'll have plenty of serious Capricorn energy to work with in January as well. Let surprises come up. Try to leave things unscheduled and flexible. That's what Sag is all about. That's what retrogrades are all about. So the more you can do that, the more you'll be able to be present and do stuff with the surprise things that will come up. Some of the sweet lineups are also accompanied by squares with Chiron. We talked about Chiron at length last month in my November report. So these aspects can bring the typical self-doubt that comes when things are going well, or that comes when you take your hands off the wheel for a little while. Sag energy is all about taking hands off the wheel. It's about relaxing and going with the flow and synchronicities. And there are lots of good opportunities to really just step out of the driver's seat this month. But that will also come with these, like, is everything okay? Am I sure it's okay? You know, these moments of self-doubt. So I'm going to talk about some of the aspects and the days that they're occurring. And do know that even though I'm going to give you dates for these occurrences, sometimes we feel the energies of these planetary aspects coming together before or after the actual event. So I'll give you dates, but it's more important for you to see how you feel on a given day and follow your own personal flow. If there's supposed to be a good day for something and you're feeling it the day before or 2 days before, you've got to go with what you feel. You know, these are only guidelines to help you use your intuition and understand the energies that you're feeling. You can also get a more detailed write-up that I send out every month, where I write the dates and the aspects and some energies that go along with them, so that you have a visual of this. And I send them out a month early, just like I post the horoscopes a month early. So if you go to anniehelpsyou.com and sign up for my email newsletter, then you'll get that information. If you've signed up for my newsletter and you're not getting the newsletter, there's something up with your inbox or your email service, because I send them out religiously every month early. I always have for years, and that's my schedule. So there's something happening where the emails are going into your social or promotions or events folders or into spam, because I definitely send them out. So you can get with me or my customer service team on my website, anniehelpsyou.com, if you're having trouble figuring out where those emails are going, and we'll figure it out. I do send out in the welcome letter some information, and actually on the landing page when you sign up, information on how you can better make sure that things go into your inbox. So December 1st, we have this challenging transit, Mars in Libra opposing Uranus in Aries. Whenever Mars and Uranus get together in an angle that's not easy or smooth, I always have, I worry a little bit, you know, because it's going to bring stress and difficulties. And it could be a little bit dangerous even, you know. Uranus is surprises. Mars is movement forward, movement forcing things. And this is definitely not a time to force things. Mercury's going to be going retrograde on the 2nd, between the 2nd and 3rd, depending on what time zone you're in. So, and the Libra and Aries component shows us that there's a me versus we, you know, you and someone you're in relationship with. There's probably going to be a conflict there. The more that you can think carefully before you say or do anything from haste or frustration, the better, because there will likely be more backlash from hasty words and actions at this time. December 2nd, we've got a beautiful transit that I am hoping will offset the incoherence of the Mercury retrograde at the same time, and this Mars-Uranus opposition. Jupiter in Scorpio is trining Neptune in Pisces, and this is the first of 3 exact lineups of these outer planet titans that are going to occur over the next 8 months or so. So December 2nd is the first, May 25th of 2018 is the second, and the third is on August 19 of 2018. So this is a cycle that will likely correspond with the desire to use resources for the benefit of the whole. You know, it's a very compassionate, 4th chakra, heart-centered type of transit. And since these are outer planets, this is more potent than the Mars and Uranus transit, which is a short-term thing. This Jupiter and Neptune transit is a long-term story that is going on, and it can very positively and very powerfully transform individuals, communities in the world. So the more we can surrender our ego will to our higher forces, you know, this spiritual divine will, that's what this transit is really about. It can really instigate massive change. So I really do hope it softens the stressful aspects around it and makes it easier to see the truly important things in life. So on December 2nd or 3rd, depending on your time zone, Mercury will go retrograde at 29 degrees of Sagittarius. It will move back to 13 degrees during its journey retrograde. So if you have Sag planets between 29 and 13 degrees, I know I have a ton of them myself, you'll be most affected by this because those retrogrades are going to be going back over those planets. So, you know, it's time to wrap up and make ready for new is basically the story, and try not to plan things and just leave room for adventures. Because even in retrograde, when Mercury's in Sagittarius, you know, adventures, going to places from the past, running into people from the past is very predominant. On December 3rd, we have a full moon at 11 degrees of Gemini. Full moons can bring fullness, completion, fruition, drama, something accomplished, can occur, you know, that you've been working towards. Something dramatic in a negative way. Communication and related devices, mobility, cars, you know, modes of transportation, projects with siblings, cousins, aunts, uncles. All of these are Gemini things. Short distance travel and trips can come up. This full moon is also accompanying a Sun in Sag square Neptune transit, which can bring confusion or disappointment along with the full moon. On December 6th, we have Mercury in Sag conjunct Saturn in Sag. Mercury is a lively energy, and Saturn is kind of a stodgy energy. And when Mercury especially is in Sagittarius, it wants to move. Saturn doesn't always want to move. It wants to ask important questions, to have more detail. So this could bring in, you know, an issue with scattered energies, but it could also make them more easily drawn in at the time. Like you could get more focus on topics or for projects. So it's really good for concentration. And on the same day, there's a Mars and Saturn awesome aspect, which can add oomph to partnership flow. So it's making, and also at the same time, Mercury in Sag is making a nice aspect with Mars. So we've got Mercury conjunct Saturn, making a sextile to Mars, and Mars is making a sextile to Saturn. Okay, so all of this is happening at the same time. So even though it can bring some sternness or some reality checks, I think overall it could bring someone from the past to help fulfill a project, or like some sort of force that grounds and pulls something in from this scattered state. Then on December 10th, we've got Mercury in Sag trine Uranus, and happy surprises are very likely with this transit. This is one of those things I was talking about where surprises, good luck, things can come in. But again, it's not necessarily the best time to plan too much unless you're planning to be interacting with people, or, you know, being in groups or something fun that's kind of flexible, and where you're not launching something. You know, when you launch something, you have a birth date for it on the day that you launch it. And this is, the energy is going backwards. So even though there's sweetness, so it's like sweetness from the past. Then on the same day, December 10th, we have Venus in Sag squaring Neptune in Pisces. And disillusionment and deception are very likely in the areas of love and money. So this is more a nice time to retreat into fun personal pursuits. Venus in Sag enjoys adventure. So going on personal adventures, reading an amazing book. Speaking of which, my new project, cozy-by-sweetstarlight.com, has, I think I mentioned before, the horoscopes. I'll be writing horoscopes for each sign. I don't write horoscopes for each sign. I write a general transit now for my email group, but this website will have little highlights for each sign, and we'll also have accompanying awesome reads for the month for each sign based on where the planets are. So this day and this period of time is really good for just kind of pulling into something fun. So you can find some inspiration at cozy-by-sweetstarlight.com. On December 12th, the Sun in Sag will conjunct Mercury in Sag. And this is a fantastic day for prolific expression and great news about any Sag-related ventures, which we mentioned some of those before. So on December 15th, Mercury then makes a conjunction to Venus in Sagittarius. So there's just this busy, busy energy in Sag, things joining up, personal planets joining up, personal planets joining up with outer planets. And so much of this is occurring in the sign of Sagittarius. So lots of things coming from the past. So flexibility, open communication can bring surprises now, you know, wonderful surprises. This is one of those aspects that I discussed, that the more you can be open and just sort of go with the flow, that you'll happen upon wonderful adventures. At the same time, the Sun in Sag is making a square with Chiron. I mentioned this earlier, that throughout the month, wherever we seem to have these surprises, happy surprises, there's also this square with Chiron that's kind of like, yay, this is great. And then it's like, oh wait, is everything okay? It's so good that I'm worried that everything's not okay. You know, the self-doubt tends to come in with those Chiron squares. On December 16th, which is my birthday, the Sun in Sagittarius is going to trine Uranus in Aries, and this is an amazing transit. So look out for more wonderful surprises that can delight you on that day. December 17th and 18th, we have our new moon in Sagittarius, which is at 26 degrees. So anyone who has their sun, so if your birthday is like the 16th, 17th, 18th, around that period of time, you not only are going to have this Sun and Uranus trine worked into your solar chart, which is in effect for the whole year. You're also going to have the new moon worked into your solar chart, and having the new moon on your birthday or around your birthday is very powerful. So it definitely means lots of new beginnings in this year. So this is a power-packed new moon. It's also conjunct Mercury, which increases the odds of important information coming in or going out. It's conjunct Venus, which means that love and money will likely be involved in a big, usually good way, because this is a positive aspect. It's trine Uranus, which adds the element of happy surprise. It conjuncts Saturn, which can bring seriousness or sternness. I always call a reality check when Saturn's involved, but it could just mean something gelling that you've been working on for a long time, like something that you put into works in the past could see movement during this time. And so remember, oh yeah, wait, one more thing. Square Chiron. So many squares to Chiron this month, which can bring overwhelm and self-doubt. So all of that is happening at once, but most of it is very positive. There's just a couple of little tweaks there that might bring some things up. So it's time to make your new moon wishes and everything Sagittarius, and you can go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, click on blog, go to astrology, and look for the Making Powerful New Moon in Sagittarius Wishes. So if you just do a search for New Moon Sagittarius, it will take you there. What things to wish for during the new moon in Sag, where you can lift your wishes up in a bigger way when you align them with the energies of Sagittarius Wishes. And you can also look at my video, Making Wishes Come True. If you just search for Annie, Making Wishes Come True in any search engine, that should pull up that video. So you can make the most of those new moon wishes. On the 20th, we've got a Venus in Sag trine Uranus, yet another Uranus aspect that's wonderful, involving love, involving money. Once again, Venus is also square Chiron at the same time. So it's possible that advances in love or money could bring up old insecurities, you know. That's the way that I'm reading that as a potential. I'm sure there are many other potentials. December 21st, when we have our solstice time, the Sun in Capricorn is conjunct Saturn. This can be kind of a somber time. It can be a heavy time. It can be a little bit depressive, or it can be super productive. You know, every sign, every planet, every placement has this range of potentials that span from lower to higher, you know, and so the same things that can be serious or heavy or kind of decreasing your vitality could also be fantastic for business and long-term goal attainment. It's super, super productive and very grounding. On December 22nd, Mercury goes direct at 13 degrees of Sag. So this transit ends today, but the shadow period runs until January 12th. So if you want to do some launches and get some stuff done and out in the world, try to wait until closer to January 12th. When I do the January report, I'll give you some dates a couple of days before, like around the 12th, that if you have to start to get some stuff done that you can, even though the shadow period isn't passed yet. But look out for mishaps in communications and schedule shifts all month, and especially around the days that Mercury goes direct and retrograde. So around the 2nd and 3rd and around the 22nd, those couple of days before and after it changes direction, there's just more confusion, more mishaps, more rescheduling. If you can avoid scheduling anything on those days, that would be amazing. You know, sometimes life isn't like that, but you'll see the wisdom of trying to keep things lightly scheduled as you track this more yourself. On December 25th, Venus in Capricorn is conjunct Saturn in Capricorn. So this can either bring hard news in love or money, or hits to self-esteem, because again, Saturn can be this kind of heavy taskmaster and Venus rules love or money. But alternatively, it can be amazing for business, work, or long-term relationships and goals. You know, so something can gel for your work, something can gel for your love life in a very magical and permanent way. On December 27th and 28th, Mars in Scorpio trines Neptune, and this transit can bring delightful inspiration and deep insights. So it's great for going on a creativity bender or bonding with someone else in wonderful ways, or bonding with spirit, you know, just connecting with spirit. So these are the things that are most on my mind for the month of December. Again, go to anniehelpsyou.com to get my written report. Go to Cozy by Sweet Starlight to start to check out my monthly horoscopes, as well as Astrology for Wellness and a massive amount of other awesome blog topics. I think that you'll love my new site. Check out my husband's videos for the month. Sometimes he posts them a little bit after me, but he'll always get them up in a timely manner. So his website is IamHelios, IamHelios.com, and see his tarot scopes, what he has to say for you for the month. And you can also check out my Astaria School of Practical Magic, which is another fun project that I have going on my website, AnnieHelpsYou.com. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.